What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. Live your best life. You must live label free. I'm super excited. I love my coaches, especially coaches around energy. That my next guest is an accomplished energy coach. She's a speaker and an author. Joining us from the West Coast, please welcome Linda Binns to the show. Linda, thank you for joining us today. I'm super excited about this conversation. Can you tell the audience a little bit about your background?
Thank you, Deanna. Yes. So I've been an energy coach in one form or another for 25 years now. I started actually doing holistic health consultations. I have a degree in holistic nutrition and was also doing feng shui. That's how I first started my business.
Wow.
And then I moved. My husband and I moved because of his job, and I had to start over. And I thought, well, I was so limited to geographical area there because I would go to see people or they would come to see me. And so I started looking at doing things in a different way. So, and then I realized that there were limitations. I had felt limitations with the health coaching and the feng shui coaching because people were always looking for a quick fix. And my work was never about that. People would, like after a feng shui consultation, people would always say, oh, that was more like a therapy session or something like that, So I realized that my focus is energy and on helping people transform by changing energy, whether that's in their environment, whether that's their own personal energy, whatever that is, and then they can transform anything they want in their lives by changing themselves and what is impacting them. So like I said, I've been doing that for about 25 years. I'm originally from England, now living in Oregon in the US. And I just love it because people usually come to me when they've tried everything else and nothing else has worked. And so it's kind of a last ditch attempt, well, I might as well try this because nothing else has worked. And then I just love seeing how amazed they are when things start to shift. So.
Yeah. So I've been having a lot of conversations with different guests around energy. And I think before we start recording, I mentioned I'm a coach for the Female Podcasters Network, so I'm their head coach. And I've been working with this woman she's shifted her focus to really help people understand how important it is to tap into that energy and have that higher consciousness. And I remember what my conversations were with her, but why do you think that's so important for people to really kind of to shift the energy in their life and to tap into that power that we have, so to speak?
Well, I think it's one of the most important life skills you can learn because everything is energy and we are being impacted by energy, our own, but other people's and in the environment all the time, and we're not really aware of it. I think the best way to explain it, could I share an example with you? Because
of course, please.
That helps to explain it, because we can talk about energy and people sometimes have their own sort of ideas about what that is. So I'll share the story of this is a woman I worked with several years ago, and she came to me because she was in a job which she actually loved, and she had been there for some years and was never getting promoted. In fact, what they would do is they would bring new people in. She would train them. They would get promoted, and she never would. So she came to me because she wanted to get promoted within her job and make more money and be more successful there. So I started, talking to her about her situation and I was kind of dig a little bit to see what's really going on underneath, because I always know that what you think is the problem is never the problem.
Sure. Yeah.
So I discovered that one thing was that she was living in a house. Her parents were both dead. She did not have a happy childhood. And she was living in the house that she'd grown up in, that they left to her. So there were a lot of unhappy memories in this house. So for me, energetically, I pay attention to that because it felt to me like she was stuck energetically in her career. She had no confidence because she wasn't getting promoted. And she was stuck energetically in her childhood by living in this home. She didn't like the house. She had a lot of unhappy memories and so on. So we started working on what it is that she really wanted. We started working on the issues that were affecting her confidence and her fears and looking at all of those things. And I also asked her to make a few changes in her home to change the energy there. And so she started doing those things. 1 week later, she called me in an absolute panic. She said, "Oh my God, this isn't working." And I said, "Okay, calm down. Why is it not working?" And she said, "Well, at work, they've just told me that they're restructuring and I'm going to lose my job. They're going to let me go."
Oh, wow.
Now, I actually got excited about that because
Yeah.
I said to her, "Okay, I know this seems, and I understand this seems like it's not working. Because
Right.
the opposite is happening." I said, "But sometimes what happens if something's not right for you, it has to go away before something new can come into your life." So I
Right.
said, although it's hard, what I'd like you to do is stay focused on the experience that you want, which is to have a job where you feel valued and appreciated, and they pay you well for what you do. And just focus on that experience that you want. So then 2 weeks later, she contacted me. She said, "Oh my God, you won't believe it." I said, "I think I will, but tell me." She said, "Well, there was a company that she used to work with. She interacted with a lot in her role in this other job. And they just found out that she had been released from this job. And so they called her and said, 'We love working with you. Would you consider coming to work for us?'"
That's amazing.
Yeah. Now it gets even better because it was in a different state. So she got to sell her house. She got to move. The company paid all her expenses.
Oh, wow.
She got a better job where they valued and appreciated her and paid her more money. So if we had focused on what she thought was the problem, which was let's get her promoted, she would have missed out on all of that. So when you look at things in terms of energy, you open things up in such a bigger way. You open yourself up to other opportunities. So I hope that explains it a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That's a great story. And I'm a really big believer in, I don't want to see, like, if when you come around someone that has bad energy, you can feel that. Like for me, and I'm a big believer in it, and I don't want that around me. Like I have to remove myself from the situation because that's like toxic. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I try to wake up. But I think that keeping a good energy flow around you is also kind of a little bit about mindset too, and wanting to be open to that. Because I think a lot of times when you start talking about energy, like I've heard this before when I started dating, and people will look at my social media profiles and they're like, "You're a little woo woo, aren't you?" And I'm like, "I'm not woo woo. It is a scientific fact that we're all made up of energy. With the chair that you're sitting on, the table that your computer's on, your computer, it's all compounded of energy, and that's been proven scientifically. And so if you're going to block different energies in your life, it's also, that's a mindset, because you're not allowing it to flow through, and you can vibrate at a higher level that's going to bring like you said about your client, allowing those new opportunities to come in, because you can be stuck.
Oh, yeah. And depending on your energy determines what shows up in your life.
Yes.
Let me share another example. So I grew up with no confidence, no self-esteem, nothing. I didn't think I had much to offer, really.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Anyway, so when I started my business, I was like a magnet for people, bullies, and people who were rude and aggressive. And there was this one particular woman who kind of globbed onto me, and it was like I couldn't get away from her. And she was very smart, very accomplished, great businesswoman, but she was rude. She was aggressive. She was mean. The way she would talk to people, it would make me cringe. She would talk to me like that, to other people like that. And I understood the concept, in my mind, that we attract people according to our energy level, how we're vibrating. And I understood that she was in my life to show me something about myself, but I could not for the life of me see what that was. And so I had a friend who was a therapist, and I was sharing this with her. I said, "I really cannot see what she's showing me about myself, because I would not treat anybody that way. There's no way I could ever talk to someone like that." And she said to me, "No, you wouldn't treat anyone else that way, but you are really mean to yourself." And I went, oh, yeah. I am. Yeah. And so then I started treating myself better. I started recognizing when my inner voice was criticizing me, I just made the decision to be kinder to myself. And within a very short time, just a few weeks, I heard that woman was actually moving away. It's like, I didn't need her in my life anymore. And I didn't have to try and get away from her.
Yeah.
I just changed myself. And that's kind of scenario has repeated over and over in my life. And so I know the truth of it.
Do you think that energy and manifestation is very similar?
Yeah, because everything is energy. And, you know, I have a client, I was talking to her this morning. We always laugh because she is, I think, just one of the ultimate manifestors. She's so good at it. All she has to do is decide what she wants, feel it, and she just puts it out there, just says it. And the next thing, I mean, seemingly impossible things just happen for her.
That's amazing. Can she teach me how to do that?
I know. I keep saying I wanted to teach us all to do it. And she doesn't see it. She doesn't, you know, I'm trying to get her to really own that because she has this great natural gift, but it's beautiful to see. But yes, absolutely we do. And, you know, we put the energy out there. The thing is, we have to get out of our own way. Oh, I just thought of another story. Can I share this story?
Yeah, I love the stories. Please share.
Which is an example of how we get in our own way. So we put out an intention, we want to manifest something in our life.
Yes.
And then we get in our way. So several years ago, I used to do cruises. I would take groups of people onto a cruise and we would do workshops and things on the cruise. There was a lady that kept contacting me and she kept saying, I really want to do this. I just can't get the money together to do it. And she'd been trying for a couple of years. And I said, look, forget about the money. I said, get a picture of the cruise ship, put it on your refrigerator. Think about the cruise. Imagine yourself on the cruise. Just think about where we're going to go. Just think about what you want to do. And I said, if this is right for you, somehow it will come into your life. So then she contacted me and she said, well, my boyfriend saw the picture and he asked me about it and I told him about the cruise. And he said, oh, wow, this sounds so fantastic. I would like to come and I'll pay for you to come. And I said, well, that's great. And she said, no, but I wanted to get the money to come. I wanted to pay for it. I said, okay, look, you are putting out to the universe. The intention you're saying is, this is what I want. And now you're saying, sorry, universe, I don't want it in that way. I want it in this way.
Right.
And that's kind of how we get in our way. So they both came on the cruise and it was wonderful. But that's an example of how we get in our own way because we think it has to be in a certain way or in a certain time frame, or if it doesn't look like this, then we reject it. And so we get in our own way.
What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. Live your best life. You must live label free. Can we get a round of applause today? Woo! Today I'm excited to announce MANSCAPED launched their Ultra Premium Collection. Believe it or not, it's for your not so private parts. I'm talking about a leveled up hygiene routine with your favorite manly scent. And let me tell you something. Oh, it smells so good. My man wears this every day. This is an all-in-one skin and hair care kit for the everyday man and covers you from head to toe. MANSCAPED is trusted below the waist. Now trust them with the rest. Join the 4 million men worldwide who trust MANSCAPED by going to manscaped.com and use the code LABELFREE20 for 20% off and free shipping and enjoy. I've been guilty of that myself, but the more that I just allow myself just to flow with things and I put those manifestations out there and I just keep that bad energy away and just kind of keeping myself in a good place, it like your thoughts are so powerful that they, those manifestations, those thoughts, they do come true. And sometimes it's not always going to look like what you think it's going to look like, but you have to be open to it and be thankful for it and say, thank you, universe, for this opportunity. Thank you for making this happen. What have you? I mean, I'm a big believer in that. I mean, I've just come so far in the last 6 years, and my husband passed away 6 years ago, and I'm engaged now, and I told you before we got started that I might be having a little miracle happen, and I've been wanting that since before, and I had even started the IVF process, and this new man I'm with was nothing like I had originally thought in my head, and I just said, I'm open to love. I'm open to love. I want to be loved. I deserve to be loved, like in a good, healthy way, because I really have not had a lot of healthy relationships in my life. And, this man has just, like, we met, through a friend out of the blue. I was not even thinking I was going to meet anyone. And it's just been a beautiful love story for the last a year and a half. And now we're at a really exciting time. And I'm just like, and it was nothing like how I thought it would look like. And
Right.
I was just open to love. I'm just like, I just deserve to be loved. I don't want any more toxicity. I don't want any more abuse. I don't want any more like dysfunction. I just want a stable, peaceful, loving relationship. And, having to get out of those old patterns in my head has really allowed me to embrace that. So,
Well, I love that. And what you did there, I think, is so key to manifestation, to manifesting what you want. You focused on the experience that you want. You
yes.
wanted love in a healthy way, right? So years ago, client I worked with, she, her first husband had been an alcoholic.
Oh.
He was very abusive. And so after she ended that relationship, after a few years, she was ready for another relationship. So she wrote down, all of what she wanted. She wanted someone who would really care for her, someone who didn't drink, someone who was, really devoted to her. So she said she wanted someone who was the opposite of what she'd had. Yeah. So she attracted this person. As soon as they were married, he didn't drink, but he started to control her. He would tell her what she could wear. He started isolating her from her friends. So he was the complete opposite of what she'd had, but not in a healthy way.
Right.
Not in a healthy way. So after a lot of challenges and struggle, she eventually was able to get away from him, which is when she was talking to me. And I said to her, okay, you've had the two extremes. Forget about whether you want someone who does this, like drinks or doesn't drink, or, whatever it is, focus on the experience you want.
What do you think the difference was there in between her manifesting that new relationship versus what it turned into?
Well, I think she was focused on the specifics of who this person is, what they're like. And we're told to do that, write down, the qualities of this person. But it's much better so because of how she was, so remember that we attract like, wherever we are,
Yeah.
So because of her own insecurities, the first husband, abusive, we attract people. If we don't feel good enough, we attract people who are going to take advantage of us and treat us badly. And that's why that example I shared of that woman who was in my life, being really mean, I didn't feel good about myself. And right. So I tended to attract those kinds of people. So she attracted this person. The first person she was married to was the alcoholic who was abusive. Then she said, I want someone complete opposite to that, someone who's really caring, loving, cares about me. Well, he was so caring and loving that he controlled her. Yeah. He was the only person he wanted himself to be the only person in her life, really. And so obviously that's the complete opposite of what she had, but that wasn't healthy either.
Yeah.
So if you focus instead on the experience that you want, which is why I said, I love what you had said, that you wanted to attract love in a healthy way.
Yeah.
Right. If you're focused on that, then you're going to bring the person who is right for you.
Yeah.
Okay. The healthy way is the key there. And we try to put all these stipulations on what it should be like. But if you're focused on attracting something in a healthy way that's good for you, then you're going to be raising your vibration and allowing that to come into your experience.
Do you think sometimes that maybe people, and I know I don't know what healthy looks like for them because they're so used to something that has been so dysfunctional. Because my father was abusive. He abandoned me, my siblings. I got into very abusive relationships. My husband, even though we were like a power couple, he was very controlling. Like he didn't want me being without him ever. And I never had time away from him, even though we live this great life. And people probably were a little, people looking in like, oh, she's so lucky. I wasn't lucky because I wasn't even allowed to really spend time with my family. I wasn't allowed to have any girlfriends outside of like our relationships. And so it was very dysfunctional and controlling, and people don't realize that. And so, after he passed away, then I had immediately attracted a very abusive man again, like super abusive, mentally, emotionally, just really physically. And like after that, after I got that person out of my life, I stopped dating for a while. I'm like, because I keep attracting the wrong people. And even though I'm saying I want love, I want this, I want that, there's something that I'm putting out there that is not bringing me, and it starts with me, because you keep attracting the same people, and you're saying you want one thing, and you're still getting the same thing. Something's going on in here that's not aligning with what you're saying you want.
Absolutely. If you are attracting, whether it's a romantic relationship or any other kind of relationship, a work relationship, perhaps it's your boss or somebody who's treating you badly, instead of focusing on that person, why are they doing this? This isn't fair. Why is this person in my life? Look at yourself. You can ask yourself, okay, what is this? This is what I like to ask. What is this person teaching me about myself?
Yeah.
If you turn it that way, that's why the best thing you did there was to take a break, to stop dating, and you focused on healing yourself, right? So if something, well, this goes for people, but it goes for any experience that's showing up in your life that you don't want. Instead of focusing on the experience or the person, turn it around and say, what is this teaching me about myself? What is it I need to learn about myself? And when you do that and you change your energy, your beliefs, your thinking, then you change what shows up for you.
Yeah.
It just happens. It maybe seems like magic, but it is, because you don't need that situation anymore, so it won't stay anymore. You won't attract those kinds of people anymore because you are different. You change your energy, you change what you attract to you.
Yeah, that was awesome. I love that. If someone wants to work with you, what does that look like? How do they get started with you? Do you do like an intro call, kind of see where they're at, see if you're good?
Yes, I do have a discovery call, but on my website, I just recorded it actually. I did a practical energy masterclass. So I recorded that. People can watch that for free, just to give them a better understanding of what I'm talking about here with all the different kinds of energy and how things affect you. And then if that resonates and they feel like they would like to know more, they can contact me for a discovery call. There's a couple of other things that are on my website they can check out. So there are many ways that they can learn more, or they can just jump right in with a discovery call with me if they want to. Just go to my website, which is lindabins.com. Very easy.
Where else can they find you?
Oh, Facebook, LinkedIn, got a lot of videos on YouTube. Just look for Linda Bins. On Facebook, it's Linda Bins Energy Expert. And all the links to those are on my website as well. So
I love it. And so you guys, I'll put all those links in the show notes. So don't hesitate to reach out to Linda. If you connected with her, you love what she's talking about, and you think that she can help you break through some of this negative energy that you've got going on in your life, because we all have it some way or another at some point.
We do.
So don't hesitate to reach out. She's obviously very lovely, and I'm sure you'll enjoy at least having a conversation with her. Before we say goodbye, and I think we could probably keep this conversation going for a while, so we might have to have you come back. If you got a new project or something, come back and let us update us, and we'll continue on with this amazing conversation. Any last words of wisdom or advice for the audience?
Well, I think the important thing is just focus on yourself. Make yourself the number one priority. And I'm not saying this is not self-absorbed. This is not selfish. Pay attention to how you feel always, because I mean, you could wake up in the morning, feel great, and then all of a sudden you notice you don't feel good anymore. You feel angry or upset or something. What just happened? What triggered you? Just paying attention to how you feel will give you the clues to know when something's off, when you need to pay attention to something, when you need to change something. It's all in here. So paying attention to how you feel is really going to help you know what's going on with your energy. That's a good starting point.
I love it. That was beautiful. With that being said, Linda, thank you for being such a dynamic guest. I would like I said, I would love to have you back and continue the conversation, because I think there's a lot to be talked about around energy and influence that, we have in our own lives, and manifestation and all that good stuff. So thank you so much for sharing those stories, and we'd love to have you back. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. Live your best life. You must live label free. Please don't forget to comment, rate, review, share, subscribe, follow, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.